Okay, great. So Yaron, I guess first of all, let's give people a broad overview. Why should Malaysians even consider investing in Australia? What are some of the reasons there?
The first one reason that it's actually good for Malaysians, but also for many other countries, also locals, is the proven track record of the growth in Australia. I'm not talking about the last 12 years, the last 12 months or the last 2 years. I'm talking about the last 200 years. So you see like a sort of a systematic cycle that every 7 or 10 years is the property is doubling in value in every capital city, in every regional city. And we see that for a long term, and this is how we base statistics and we understand the growth potential. Property, if you look down the past 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, you see only good growth. So it's good to buy yesterday or 10 years ago.
So I guess what you're saying is Australian property provides a stable growth platform that is proven, right? I mean, obviously in Malaysia, maybe not in the recent years, but in previous years before that, we were seeing like crazy growth, like 3 times or whatever property values, right? But whereas in Australia, maybe it's a more mature market, and while it may not get, crazy 3 times growth like we did, it provides a stable, mature growth, I guess.
Yes.
Would I be right in saying that?
Yes, definitely. This is a situation. Some property growing in 50%. I just did the research for a property in the northwest of Sydney, named is Kellyville. In the last 5 years, it had 67% growth, close to 70% growth. It's actually huge. It's good jump. But in general, in average, we see 7.2% or 8% growth. And this is a conservative growth. So we do it for the long term. We don't do it for gambling, don't do it for short term. We know the investment in real estate is a long-term game. So we do it now and wait 10 years, 15 years, 20 years time and try to achieve the goal that we wanted to achieve through this vehicle.
Excellent. So I guess that's one reason, I guess stable growth. Are there any other reasons why Malaysians should consider investing in Australia?
Yes, these are the few other reasons. One of the second one that actually people invest in real estate is because they get good returns. I'm talking about rental yields. In Australia, and what I'm looking for is a stable rental yields, approximately in the range of 4.2 to 5.6% yield. In average, this figure is actually giving the investor very easy holding on the asset. In average, it can be changed, but this is a good return, conservative return, especially if Malaysian put 40 or 50% on the asset. It's actually served. The property will be positive from the first day.
Okay, so you're getting around 5% on average return rental. So if you put down 40% deposit on your property, it's pretty much cash in your pocket after all the costs.
Yeah, yes, cash flow after cost. And look, the thing is that if the property is right now in the second level, in one level, and eventually after 5 years or 10 years time, it's double or triple value, the rent is still stay low. So the yield will go down, but eventually the rental is catching up, the price will go over there, but then you see like 8%, 10% growth. Rental yields. So it's after a while, it's 5% is actually a low number, so it's getting more, and the property is cash flow even before paying any cent on the mortgage.
Yeah, so the rental yield will also increase because rents increase regularly in Australia, right? I mean, yes. Obviously you can't predict how much it's going to increase, but it has a history of increasing regularly.
Yes, it's basically when the price in the rental yields is going in the same line, but eventually the price is going up and the rental is just catching up. Then the price going up and then it's catching up. It's like this. It's like a rat and cat.
Yeah, cat and mouse sort of thing.
Yes, sort of that.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, is there any other reasons you like to mention why Malaysians should consider investing in Australia?
Yes, one reason that I thought about is because of the political, social, and legal concerns in many countries, outside Australia. Australia is actually considered to be a very safe place to invest. It is very regulated, very moderate. Everything is by the law. The weather is nice here. It's very pleasant to live. Very cultural. And it's basically a place that is safe to grow the wealth. The government won't come one day and say, "Look, I want to take all your asset and kick you away from your arms."
Yeah,
it's very stable. The other part I want to consider, Australia is. I'm not sure about Malaysia, but I know in Malaysia there is a leasehold property. When you buy property, and it's valid for 99 years. In Australia, in most of Australia, you're buying a freehold property. That you buy a property, it's for generations. You own the property forever, and it's a long view for your kids. And if you're going further, we're talking about immigration and kids, your children's future. So it's actually it support because you buy one asset or two assets, at least a couple of assets, and this is a long term. So you keep it for actually forever, for generation, and your kids and your grandkids will enjoy it, be wealthier and have a good position in Australia compared to all the average Australian.
Yeah, I guess when I was living in Australia, I witnessed a lot of like rich people from mainland China. Even Malaysian public listed companies, the children of those Malaysian public listed companies, all living in Australia, and basically they're just buying up, tons of property in Australia. And their businesses generate wealth in Asia, but they actually store a lot of their wealth in Australia. I guess that's because they know that Australia is a very protected environment for property ownership. So yeah, that's a good reason. Yeah.
Yes. Look, there's a few other minor point that look, leasing in Australia is also very safe, very regulated, very secure. There's no problems with tenants. It's not very scary, even if a tenant don't pay rent, or it's actually not really happening. There's like a tribunal that makes all efforts to kick the tenant out or compensate the owner. It's the property is basically really is favorable of the owner, the vendors. So we are protected. The tenants, have some regulation is also secure, but everything is favor us. So we have benefits. Last one is the currency. Currency is if we compare it to Malaysia, it hasn't changed a lot, but compared to the US dollar, it's much weaker right now. It was in the past similar, but now this year it's $1 less. So you have, but when you create wealth in Australia, think about you have more wealth to cheat or to transfer to Malaysia. This actually will support you can live here from a net asset of $1 million. And live in Malaysia in more increase your lifestyle, basically.
Yeah, so you're growing your wealth in Australian dollars, right? Even though initially you might think you're losing out by investing in Australia, but eventually, as if we continue that trend of doubling your wealth every 10 years, your property assets every 7 to 10 years. In 20 years' time, you got a lot of Australian dollars in wealth stored in property in Australia.
Yes. This is true. This is true. The idea is to put a seed in the ground and wait for the long term. And the long term, because of statistics, that what happened in Australia, and the population growth, immigration growth, it's very attractive country. By all means, for all the countries, it's going to be. Perform very well, and eventually your kids or you in the next 10 years or 20 years will have more money. If you have more money here and you want to live in Malaysia, so your lifestyle will increase there, and you'll be wealthy. And wealthy, there is more options for wealthy people to enjoy life. put your kids in the private schools, come to Australia, business class if you want, or take your family out of there, and also live here and come to visit Malaysia more often. But look, the option is just limited through property investment, basically.
Yeah, and actually on the tenancy point that you mentioned just now, a friend of mine recently she migrated to Melbourne, right? And she had to apply to so many places because it was pretty hard for her to actually just rent a property because they did so many background checks and all that kind of stuff. And because of the demand, the landlords could be fussy as to who they actually choose to take in as a tenant.
Yes,
and
correct.
I heard that if you don't pay your rent, you go onto a national blacklist. That means it's going to be very hard for you to rent any property in the future. So it's in the tenant's best interest to actually make sure they pay their rent on time.
Yes, this for sure. Also, the tenant before he start the leasing, if he get accepted after application, he need to pay a bond of 4 weeks rent. And this is actually an obligation that if you don't want to lose this money, just behave. Pay on time, and look, most of it's very good related. You have like it's pay on time, everything is going well, and it's just easy for investors to keep holding the asset.
Okay, so I mean, we kind of. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know. I just said that. I think this is the main reason that.
All right, sweet. Okay, so what kind of returns, say if I want to invest in Australia, what kind of returns can I kind of expect to get, if I invest in Australia?
Okay, I think we've covered that already, but we say, look, in average, every year is 7.2% to 8.13%. If you cut it to years, although, suburb in Sydney or in Melbourne can grow 50, 60, 70% growth, which is actually kind of phenomenal. If you're talking about the rental yields, it's about, and again, I'm doing the research to find the right spot that actually will be in the 5% yield, because I want to as much as I can. Some people, depending on your wealth criteria and what your budget, can hold even asset on 3% or 4% yield, the lowest, but it's also very, very good. And they make more capital growth in the property, that we have more money rather than to spend out of pocket from the rent. So we're trying to give the best solution for each individual, but also, as you mentioned, because the Malaysian or foreign investors need to put at least 40 to 50% of the purchase price, everything will be more or less positive cash or balance.
And I guess that, when you're talking 7.2%, that's average across Australia.
Yeah, average.
But, I guess that's where you come in, where you are, helping your clients to find the ones that are above average, right? Because, and of course, there's no guarantees, but you do all the research and all that kind of stuff to, hopefully get them more like maybe higher than 7.2% on average per year, right?
Yes. So property investment is very hard to predict. We have a special innovation software that actually can predict in some extent of the next 12 months, the next 3 years, the next 5 years. But investing is canvassing, because a lot of changes, government policies, earthquake, floods. This can be very. But we're trying to understand what is the key driver, what is the fundamental investment fundamental that actually bring the property or the suburb into a growth in the next few years or the next 12 months. For this, there are a lot of parameters that we're checking. This actually gives us the option to select very accurate properties.
So I guess that comes to a question: where are the best places that you'd suggest people in Australia to invest in right now? Can you give some general localities or areas where they should possibly look at for high growth?
Yes, look, it's very good question, but very hard question. These many areas today that we're looking at. Basically, we're looking all Australia. We in some extent, at some point, we're looking on the cycle property clock in Australia. And this actually gives me a ground list where Sydney is today on the property clock on the cycle. Where is Melbourne? So, for example, if you look at the property clock, it's like a clock. So 12 o'clock is the top. 6 o'clock is the bottom. 3 o'clock is when it goes down, and when it's 6 going to 9, it's going up in the rising market. So Sydney right now is about between 12 to 1 o'clock. It's meaning that the area, the suburb, all the state have been growing for a while, for the next 3 years, and as now it's actually come to a balance.
So it's not the best time to buy in Sydney.
It's not the best time for some extent, but look, market is going up, but it can go over time. You need to go down. So it's like that. It's like a rubber. Some suburbs in Sydney, although they not growing a lot, they will keep growing because they close to all the amenities. They have the right free driver. A lot of government and private sectors invest over there right now in infrastructures and school and upgrade and Uber renewal. But also it's a good socioeconomic. People with money want to live there. So it's quite a lot of aspects and this is the reason. Look, in Australia we have 50,000 suburbs. I think more than that. So every suburb has its own cycle. So yeah, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth, all around going the cycle along the years, all the way to 200 years. But also each suburb going into a cycle for its own. But everybody born to a capital city. But some suburbs, and we know that they're growing a lot, will grow a lot. So we're going in Sydney, for example, we have the northwest node. It's actually a lot of money going there right now, and it's actually the most affordable place in Sydney right now. Most of the other area reach to the $1 million mark. Very expensive. One better units, 42 square meter can cost up to $2 million. It's not affordable anymore. But you have some special suburb that is a suburb or north part that actually you pay $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, but you get a gross all the time. Area in Melbourne, Melbourne also on the cycle is very attached to Sydney. It's all time on the tail of Sydney, but Melbourne we also very lucky to invest in Melbourne because it's very affordable still. I mean that a property that in the CBD that cost 1 million, above 1 million, in one bedroom, in Melbourne can cost 400,000, for example. Plus the stamp duty discount that I think Carol asked the question about the stamp duty discount. So I just mentioned that because we just talked about Melbourne. Melbourne until the 1st of July 2017 have the regular stamp duty concession, which, for example, if you buy a property that costs 600,000, you pay usually 31,000 in Melbourne some stamp duty, but with the concession, with discount, you pay probably around 6,000 to 8,000 only. From the 1st of July, this will be cancelled and we pay the full price. So this is actually a very, very good place to go. Melbourne is population-wise going to be overtake Sydney in 25-30 years because population growth is massive. So Sydney will have 8 million and Melbourne will have 8.8 million. So imagine what it will make to the real estate prices and there's so much demand. And right now there is demand. Lot of cranes in the air, a lot of building, but still it's like that. It's taking to lease a place because a lot of people come to the CBD every week, about 2,700. When you talk about I just flipped over to the stamp duty. So when you talk about other area like Adelaide, Sydney, New South Wales, Queensland, you don't have stamp duty discount. Everything is stay the same. It's less. It's cheaper than Victoria. Victoria actually the most expensive state in Australia. Sydney is the second.
So, but if you want to buy in Victoria, if you buy before the 1st of July, you actually get a stamp duty discount.
Yeah, in Victoria.
So that's you don't have to settle, right? I mean, you can just sign a contract, and if the contract is before the 1st of July, you still get the discount.
Yes, yes, yes. Basically, I will just advance the idea about Malaysian or foreign investment can buy only first on-end properties, which mean off the plan or completed product. So if it's a new product or off the plan, it means that you pay now, you buy 10% or 5%, and you pay only in the future.
Yeah.
If it be for construction, you pay the concession, the discount, but until the 1st of July. The reason that the government canceled this duty because they're trying to balance the market, trying to trying to reduce the supply.
Okay.
But it's just waves. It's going back and forth, but right now it's a new law probably for long term. So this is the land of opportunities, the window of opportunities. So according to your other question about open plan is so look, there is some differences about the stamp duty that need to be paid, but it's very different between state and state. Adelaide is actually, you have also a sort of discount. If it's 10,000, so you pay only 5,000. It's not abolished; it's still there. Also in Perth, you have some discount, but it's all varied. And when we get to the next stage, I will be very accurate and try to help you to understand that.
Okay. So you mentioned that properties that Malaysians can buy are off the plan properties or brand new properties. Is there any other, can like Malaysians say buy land and build sort of thing as a foreigner?
Yes, buying a land, sourcing a land and buying a construction is actually considered to be off the plan. So this is actually something that Malaysia can do. Some people want to have land and to build on that. So I'm also doing that. We're also helping in sourcing the land and the good land in the ghost protection, also building for you. It's a very quality product.
So I guess with all that kind of stuff, what I guess coming back, because it's important, as you always say, to have the right strategy before you actually start buying properties. You don't just go ahead and buy properties. So what is the best strategy, in your opinion, that you can offer our listeners today as to how they should start investing in Australian properties?
Look, the best strategy is there's no secret. I would say long term. Just by now, some people expect to have a miracle. Although there's a lot of real estate agents and cowboys out there that promise the sky when they sell properties, but property is a long-term game. You don't know what will happen because it's not very rare. When I know, because I do the research, what the growth will be approximately, but there's no guarantee. You don't know. You can wait sometimes 7 years, and the growth will be only in the 8th year. The probably will jump to 50%. But you need to be patient. Some of the clients, some of the people, people that I work with, actually more educated, actually be patient. But sometimes you have influence by the media or by friends and family that say, what's happened? It's not growing. But eventually, if you be more patient, educated, probably will grow up. So it's a long term. Is a must if you're buying for short term. So probably it's not. I cannot help you with that. I can actually check for you what will happen in 12 months and 3 years. Tell you exactly what happened. But I think for yourself, it's better to take that as a bonus, but also to focus on the long term. 10, 20 years time, it's the best.
So kind of like Warren Buffett style approach to investment in properties.
Yes. Warren Buffett is not a trader. He is investing in the shares, but he's only buying most of it in the blue chip, shares like Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Apple, and he just sit on it and like the warm potato. And eventually, in 2008, the share market will drop in 50%. he was the only one that keep his share, because all those big companies just lost money. But he was like looking investors said, look, it doesn't matter, I will own them, and in the long term he made money. Most of the people also in Australia in the GFC in 2008 just sold the property, was get unconfidence. But just look, the property is, you buy a property and you have a tenant, pay the rent, and anyway is cash positive. It's not really but it just sits on the mind. The mind is what's interfere us with our decision. So it's a long term. The other thing I might mention that Warren Buffett, it's about diversify a portfolio. You need to diverse between asset class. You buy house and land, townhouse, apartments, some detached, semi, just to, because every product have different growth perspective. Advantage, disadvantage. Apartment you can buy in the CBD, but if you go further away, you can buy the same price house, for example. So if you're talking about 400, you can buy in Melbourne 400 on the major CBD near the water, but also you can find 20K from the CBD in Brisbane, for example. You can find 400,000 four-bedroom house with 2 garage, 2 car park. So it's but everybody has everything different criteria, and the thing is we want to make a profit every time for each property or each asset. For in the long term, we want to everyone will give us profit, equity, and growth and yield every time and then, not just to invest to put all the eggs in one basket. For example, to put everything on a apartment in Sydney, and then the market change and there's no benefit for apartment. So then you can wait 10 years. Eventually, we'll wait 10 years, but after 10 years, when the cycle is moving, we need to have profit from each one of them.
All right, so you need to have different types of property that will take advantage of different property cycles. And obviously, the more properties you have, the more growth you can experience through different properties on different cycles, right? So, and that's how you build wealth, right? Not just one property, but multiple properties. Yes.
Another thing I want to mention that I didn't mention that when you buy a property, you need to, according to the last question, you need to focus also on the quality of the product. If the product is not really quality, so you won't maintain the value or keep the price. So this is actually very important for off the plan or new product. Because there's so many developers and so many, I think, presenting in Malaysia that coming in and sell the product.
So there's a developer risk as well, so that they need to be aware of.
Yes, and look, some of them they are good company, but some of them just try to sell a product. But you need to be very careful. The quality is very important. The brand is very important. I know there is a good Malaysian developers out in Sydney, like Mamos, or there was a few good developers, very quality. And then actually, I bought myself the properties, but need to understand that also a brand or a good architect who is the builder or what the quality of the brick or the wood. So it's very important to, because you want in the next 10 or 20 years that the product will still maintain. You want that owner occupier will buy the property. You don't want the investor to buy the property, because the investor will you still make a value for the property, but if you want to make more money, you need to have a property that appeals to owner occupier. So this is actually what trying to check.
So because you don't want to buy in a development where it's all investors and there's no owner occupiers, because then the property prices are not as stable, I guess.
Yes. And it's not that. It's there's so many the builders and developers that just get some money and build. Some developers have no cash itself, so there's a risk of the plan that can go down under. You want to make sure that the developer that built have the money and stable and live actually do it for long, many years, using the best product, and they have no risk at all to get. But also they deliver what they put in the marketing material. So some marketing material, some brochure stuff is never exists. In US, in the GFC, people sell, cities or down the water. People can't really expect it. It was just water. Didn't see anything.
Yeah.
So you need to be careful, but yeah, this is what we're trying to. This is one of the elements that we're trying to focus on in our research. Another other element that I put it down is close to CBD or regional CBDs, and that it's provide all the amenities, all the services, and when you close to CBD, even 20K or have a transport road, a big road that somebody invests $1 billion, it's put the suburb close to the CBD. It will bring value to the area.
Yeah, because I mean, you don't want to invest in like, back 10 years ago, the mining town property prices were like, tripling every 2 years or something. But if you had bought there, now you're in big trouble, right? Because you have lost like half or more of your wealth through buying those mining towns.
Well, correctly. There was a company, actually a few companies that are selling only in the mining town. I never go there because it's too risky. It's not conservative growth. Warren Buffett says something, and I follow him. But there was a few stories about a young couple that actually bought 10 properties in one mining town in Queensland, have like 8% yield or 10% yield, I think like 12% yield from the property. Actually, it was cash positive. The growth was double. But then what's happened? The mining company was closed and lived. The properties is actually the city is nothing. The company employee bring the employee, they fly in, fly out, give them the accommodation, rent out. When the company moved out, there was nothing. The city was turning into a ghost town. The property, no tenant, everybody live, no rent, and the price was dropping down. Right? And the guy that invests 10 properties from his portfolio, it's worth nothing now, and just is go down because he can sell it, he can rent it, and it's in loss. So actually, the portfolio, all his hard work that he made is worth nothing now. So this is the reason we need to focus on the quality and how to progress for the future, how to build a smart net of asset. That's actually why I come to the picture to help you with that.
Yeah, you also mentioned that you also need to look in the micro sort of factors in nearby the suburb, right? What are the infrastructure and all that kind of stuff? Can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yes, this one. Look, when you buy property, you need to buy it close to amenities, close to transport, close to education, good schools, services. Shopping centers. This is actually gives some good driver. But also, if you have other key drivers, like it's called the pie. Pie stands for pie is the pie that Australians love to eat. But pie stands for population, infrastructure, and employment. When the population grows, like in Melbourne or in Brisbane or even in Paris as well, and you have at the side people invest in infrastructure and also in these employment hubs, this is actually a very strong key driver for growth potential. So you're trying to focus on this area. And for example, Melbourne right now, St Kilda Road through the CBD. All this road, they're going to invest $21 billion in the new metro. It's connected a few suburbs. So this is the X factor. And what happened to the real estate is it will add value to the real estate over there. Dockland, for example, the Avenue of the Water. It's in total they invest $10 billion already. This is a $17.5 billion investment. All the precinct going to be a massive in the future. Right now, a lot of craneage and it's quite affordable. But it's the same story of Darling Harbour of Sydney, which is now more than CBD. It's one bedroom is 1.8 million easily. So 7.5 million. When you see someone that this is X factor, where someone that invests so much money and you buy only $1 million or $500,000 property, you know that you have more the risk to you. So you need to be attached to those areas. Similarly, like McDonald's and KFC, same story. They're real estate agents, basically.
Okay.
I don't know the story, but we talk about it later. Yeah. This is basically it.
Okay. All right. So okay, coming to the legal issues, what are some of the legal issues that Malaysians and foreigners need to consider when they invest in Australia?
There's not a lot, but when a foreign investor, non-resident, invests in Australia, need to fill the FIRB. FIRB application is sent for Foreign Investor Revenue Bureau. And this is like technical process. You need to fill your details in the application, then send to the government. The government check it. Usually it takes 1 month to 2 months. You pay the $5,000 to the government or to ATO, and then they confirm it. Usually 99%, 99.9999% is confirmed. They didn't error at any.
So there's no issues getting approved, whatever.
No,
it's just a procedure that you have to go through
to make more money.
Yeah, to make money basically.
Yeah, but it's only for 5,000, and then you fill it. Is add to the contract, and this you need to do. And this is.
So do they pay that money 5,000 upfront, or only when the property sells?
No, they pay 5,000. Actually, yes. When they fill the application, they need to pay 5,000 to the government upfront. It's like a fee.
Yeah.
Fee to the approval. Sure. Based on that, beside that, we have solicitor. Solicitor, it's legal. Yeah. Everybody has a legal representative. I will help this good solicitor that I working with. We're not working in the same company, but I like to work with good people that I can recommend. They can help my client. And some of them are new innovation with digital soliciting. So it's actually very good. You just press on bottom and they call you, and we're very easy. Usually the fees between 1,000 to 1,500, quite affordable. And they review the contract, give you some feedback, send you the report, and then send you the copy to sign, and that it. Send it back, pay the 10% deposit to them through a bank check or transfer, and that it. Okay. An exchange, and that you have property.
All right. Okay.
No more legal concern.
Okay, so is there anything else legally?
Yeah, I think Carol and also Betty talk about it.
If you like, we can address the questions at the end. But I suppose Betty's concern about question about property gain tax. That's probably quite relevant when talking, I guess, legal taxation issues. Do you want to just address that?
Yes. Look, just in short. When everybody a foreign investor. When I invest overseas, I take a company that will Ernst & Young or some big company that can tell me what the tax imposed on different countries. From foreign investors, we have a lot of people that invest in Australia, but taxation is when you have an account here and you get a profit, even for your access account, you need to basically it's 10% from the profit that you pay to the bank or whatever. When your money is locked in on a property, in a line of credit, on equity. So you have no tax. This is actually what I'm doing. There is no tax on the property. It's tax on the profit. When the money is on your access account.
Okay, so if you say made $1 million from selling a property in say 5 years' time, for whatever reason they invested, and say 5 years' time they made $1 million, they sell it. What happens?
Yes, so basically, these capital gain tax are very, very high in the first year, so you don't sell after 1 year. After the second year, it's closer to 50%, 40% or something like that, and this is actually what you need to pay for the tax ATO, 40% of your profit. This is a reason. One thing I learned in my experience that it's not very great to sell property in the first few years. And this is the reason the property is a long-term game, because if property is growing double or triple in value, even more, so yes, you pay a couple of gain tax, you still make money. But it depends on what you have, which structure. If you set up. But this is good to the tax consultant. So you have capital gain tax. You have land tax as well. If you buy too many house or land properties, then you get to every state at a threshold. 600,000 for the value, or it depends on the New South Wales, Queensland, Perth, Victoria. And when you reach the threshold, money and land side, you need to expose to about the land tax. It's for 50%, 15%. But look, land tax is actually it's just out of pocket, just some expenses. But
it's not that much, right? It depends on the size of the property and all.
It's not much, but also if you get a capital gain tax, land tax every year, you still if you keep buying a land and big mansion houses, you make more money on the capital growth and land tax. So you pay the land tax.
Yeah. So it could be a few hundred or $1,000-2,000 a year, whatever it is.
Yes,
depending on how much you own.
Yeah. It's people sometimes when they start for small and have like a small property, small portfolio, they're thinking about it's actually eat my one of the property cash flows. It's if they pay $2,000 a year, it's too much for them. But it depends how you structure it.
Right, and you can structure it in a way so that you minimize the land tax, so don't have to pay anything at all.
I think land tax is one of the things that you need to. But yes, this is another thing that we try to diversify, because if you buy two lands and construct a good property, then you move to a townhouse, so you reduce the size. If you move now to a nice luxury property in the CBD of Melbourne, for example, you have a unit that divided by all the owners, and you don't pay any. It's limited. So when you're going from each state and state, you don't have to. You start the third step from the beginning. Okay, so you have two properties in house landed in Sydney, then you have to land in Perth, then you have to land in Victoria. You don't pay a land tax because you start the threshold at the beginning.
Right. So based on the state.
Yes.
Right. The land tax is a state tax, not a national tax.
Yes, and this is another reason to diversify, because you eliminate a few stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So Betty also say, is there any restrictions for non-Australians to dispose of their properties, like a minimum holding period, that kind of stuff?
Any restriction?
If they want to sell their property, is there any? If they bought it and they want to sell it, is there any time limit?
Look, there's never restriction. You can buy property and sell it in the next day. There's never restriction. It's just
the cost involved.
It's the cost involved and what you want to achieve. So I try. If you go ahead with me, I'll show you how to build wealth. But to buy property and to sell, after 6 months or a few years. Yeah, it's not a game changer.
Yeah, it's not a speculative market for doing that kind of stuff.
If you find a spot, if I find you a spot that actually it will double or triple more in the next 5 years, why not? Sell it and just make some profit and maybe buy another one and make some cash. But look, when I were working with each client, I'm actually, it's not like the first time I'm working with him for long term. I'm called to follow up, doing reviews. And then we understand what to do in the first 2 years, first 5 years, next month, and I do keep going. So, but there is no any restriction.
There's no restrictions basically. Okay, so what are the financing options for Malaysians to buy a property in Australia? What kind of funding options are available?
Yes, basically, I just wrote it in a piece of paper. Basically, you can borrow money from Australia. You can borrow, and we find another option, a contact in Maybank in Malaysia that actually can borrow money for residents, PR or citizen in Malaysia. So I can just call you. I just can read what they offer. So they can loan in Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth properties.
So this is Maybank you're talking about, right?
Maybank. Sorry.
Yeah.
So this should be 30K from the CBD, only for residents, PR or citizen, of the plan, of course.
So PR or citizens of Malaysia?
Malaysian, yes.
Yeah, just to clarify that,
Okay, Malaysia need to show a proof of income to see that they can set the loan and can get a loan. May bank give up to 70% LVR. LVR is the loan versus ratio. So actually,
so you only have to come up with what 25% of the value of the property. Okay.
Yes, I would again advise to people to put at least 40 or 50% in, because the property inside is quite expensive, and if you want more cash flow, but our work is each one individual, situation, because it can vary. The loan should be MAR only, Malaysian ringgit.
Okay.
Interest rate, the bank rate would be 4.95. This is quite good. Long term, 30 years and up to 70 years. And look, we have contact with a banker, so you can help with process the loan or whatever you need when you need to do that. In Australia, there is a lot of restrictions. It was very easy in the past, very easy but right, it's getting worse and worse and worse. Probably it's a wave till the correction, and then it will release. But I think in the next few years it will be restricted. But still, a few lenders still borrowing money for foreign investors, and the rate should be before 4.99 and 6.95 or 7% interest loan.
So between 5 to 7% interest.
5 to 7% interest. Some of them are even more. Depend if you want, more money.
Depends what kind of documentation you show and how much is your loan ratio, I guess.
Yes, but I think they can borrow money in Australia. It's only depend. If you put 50% of your purchase price, so even if you pay 7% interest loan, interest rate is nothing. I started when I started investing, I was at 8% interest. It was nothing. It was right now. It sounds very, very high because interest rate now is 4%. So 8% sounds wow. It's so.
Yeah, so the strategy is the main thing. I mean, we can sort of like talk about how much percent is the interest rate, but the main thing is you have the right strategy for the long term, right?
Yes, yeah. This is true. So again, look, LVR is low. Some lenders are 50 to 70% LVR, which is actually good. But I always advise to put the 40 to 50. Term again 30 years and interest only. Interest only is actually good, but some of the lenders want principal and interest. Some of the time it's not really relevant for the sum that you put.
Okay, cool. So how much do you recommend that people need to start investing in properties in Australia?
Look, as I said, I'll give you an example. If you're going for 400,000, very affordable property, we can start with 1 million or so, because I have some clients that want buy 1 million, some buy 2 million, some buy 400. It depends on the situation. But let's start for 400,000. So if we put let's say 50% of the assets, we need to come with 200,000. Then we take a loan for another 200. So you pay interest on 200, which is actually very, very low. And when you buy a property, you need to pay 10%. So if you buy 400,000, you need to put only 40,000, just to bind the contract and get the property.
That's off the plan, right?
This off the plan, yeah. If it's land construction, so you pay even less than that. Probably mostly 7.5%, but again, the same thing, just split contract, land and house. And you have cost, stamp duty cost, and you have all-in cost of body corporate, council, water, which is actually small amount of money. It's not really small, but it's the rent will mostly cover that, the rental income. But because you put 50% in or 40% in, the property will be much positive or balanced. The reason I said 50% because you don't have as locals tax advantage. Locals have can be a weekly or yearly tax advantage. We get a tax back. You can get the tax only on when you're selling the property. So you don't have the cash flow over time. So 50% or 40% is actually very, very common.
I mean, if you that's a good way to start, so you can put money in your pocket and grow that bank account every month, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So if our listeners today or someone like me living overseas wants to start investing in Australian property, I guess how can you help someone like me to start investing in Australian properties?
It's a good question. Look, I have a lot of clients, investors from overseas, not only from Malaysia, but also from Indonesia, from China, from Israel, from Europe, from US, and actually they're quite happy. But the major feedback was because they actually like the product, they like the quality, they like the reputation, they like the philosophy that I'm trying to engage. But also another good point that they actually most of them told me as a comment that the service is excellent. So it's not they feel that they have someone that take care of them. So property is not a big deal to buy. You just pay 10%, take a mortgage, and you're done. You can buy by yourself. But when you have service and you have something that sorts for you a land or property that actually and put in the part of your portfolio and review the portfolio, take care of that, it is actually more. It's the same. Or you buy a property and you have nothing, or you buy a property and you have full service. So this is the feedback. Also, personal service with me. It's a long-term service with support team that we have in the off the plan property office, and it's long-term relationship, personal and business as well. So this is the value. What I'm trying to what I'm doing usually is trying to looking for 1 hour of your time just to talking with every person to understand your goals, what you want to do, to know you better, and to know your financial situation, to understand what can I do, and how if you qualified, if you're not qualified, you can work with you or not. This is also a good opportunity for you in this free concept of 1 hour. It's mainly discussion to know you, me better, to understand what my experience, my background, what I can do for you, and for me it's just to understand if you're the right client that I can work with and actually help you. Some clients I cannot help; they can do it by themselves, but most of them I can manage to add value.
So essentially, what you do is you give, I guess, in a sense, you give people peace of mind because the property that they buy is, I guess, well researched and probably gonna perform better than your market average. And on top of that, you basically help them through the whole process, right, from research to buying and the strategy and everything in between, all the legal and solicitor stuff, financing. So they don't have to worry about anything like that.
Yes,
right?
yes. It's working well with locals as well. With a lot of locals that buying with me and actually help them with the portfolio, but also lots of foreign investors that live over there, and the market is here. So I'm the only focal point. So I can be in contact every time. I'm very active with my email, very proactive, and it's like a person that dedicate for your investment portfolio, that to make sure that your wealth, you can achieve your wealth. This is actually what I'm trying to do. This is my joy, this is my satisfaction, just to understand that I can help you, not just by selling your properties. This is, of course, this is my business, but the goal is to help you build a portfolio. If I manage to build a portfolio, very successful portfolio, and that will achieve good results, I'll be more than happy. Actually, it will be good for my reputation as well. Especially for a person that live overseas, and I have all the services, accountants, brokers, lawyers, not in my team, but I'm recommending a good person, not to create a conflict of interest. But also it's from now till ever. So this is not the end. I'm here forever. So the property, the other part is concern is having a property strategy and mapping a suburb and to understand how you can fit the equation, what is your budget, and it's all about strategy. Now you can make not this just one property, and also how to make third and the fourth and fifth property, and also depend your goals. And I'll show that when you'll be open to the next stage.
Okay, so let me put that link up so that people who are interested to chat further with you. Obviously, it's no obligation, but if you're interested to chat further to Yaron and get a consultation with him, just let me just display this offer. Just click on the button there, and I think Yaron will get in touch and organize something with you to go through your situation and give you the right strategies to actually succeed in Australian property. Right. Okay. So in the meantime, we have a few questions here. Betty says, I was told that foreigners can only sell their Australian properties to Australians. Is that restriction true?
No. You can say when you buy a property, you can do whatever. This is your own or the owner. You can sell it whatever you want, to whoever you want, and you can sell it again to Malaysian or anybody else.
So wouldn't that be like second-hand property then? If I own it for like 5 years and I sell it, do I need to sell it to an Australian? Or can I sell it to
yes. This is actually I understand what you're saying. When the property is becoming second-hand, off the plan becomes second-hand after a while, so you can sell it only to locals. Because what's happened but look, it's going to change. But right now, foreign investors that want to buy second-hand properties can buy it if they want, but they need to live in that. If they live to Malaysia, they need to sell it. So it's not actually. It's good if you want to like 2 years to have a house and then to sell it, and you have plenty of money, don't care, you can do it. But for money personally, it's not really worth it.
Yeah, it's silly, right? It's kind of like because you're going to pay the stamp duty and whatever taxes. So if you live there for 2-3 years, it's kind of not a very smart wealth building strategy, right?
Yeah, but look for the sales price. When you have a property that actually hold it for 10, 20 years or even 5 years, you want to sell it, I can help you sell it, or there's plenty of real estate agents that can sell it. It's not a problem. It's not a big deal. You can sell it for anyone. Is that matter if the next owner will be Malaysian or the next owner will be Indonesian or Australian?
Right. So the second-hand property, say if I buy off the plan and then 5 years later I sell it, I do need to sell it to an Australian PR or citizen, right? I can't sell it
to a local buyer.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Gotcha.
Yeah,
got it. So I hope that answers Betty's questions.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, any limit, ceiling, margin of financing for loans to non-Australians? I think we kind of addressed that, right, just now when you're talking.
We addressed it.
But if you want to just recap quickly.
Look, these many products. So talking about financial institutions. So they have many products, and every month they get updated. So right now we can assess your situation, and I can check with my connection, my broker, finance guys, what we can do, and I can actually offer you tell you exactly what's happening to now.
But it changes every month.
But it changes because there's no revenue. When you go off the plan or short term, if for example you buy a property right now and you settle on mid of 2018, which is actually 1 year to go. So what's happening now? You put only 10% on the contract. You have a property. That is not a big deal. You do the settlement, the finance, only on mid of 18 next year. Okay, and then 3 months before that, 4 months before that, I make sure that you be on time and you make the finance, and then the product will be different. So it's very hard to say. Is there any limitation? Yes, there's limitation. As I said before, in the past it was very easy to foreign investors to invest. Even they can invest 70%, 80% in the good time in 2008. Right now they need to put 40, 50% out of.
So right now, Malaysians, if you're using an Australian financier, between 40 to 50% deposit you need to come up with, unless you're using the Maybank option where you need to come up with just 25%, right?
Yes.
But so I guess.
Yeah,
those are the options available.
But also in both options, to put as much as you can, but depend on the property price and what you have. So when you deal with that, I will help you to understand that and to give you like tips and guidance where to go with that.
Yeah, and do your calculations properly, just to make sure you can afford the repayments. If you need to top up, if you're only borrowing 25%, you know, you just got to make sure that you can cover the shortfall, I guess, right? Okay, so Vimy asked, where's the best place to invest at this point in time? We kind of covered that earlier. Maybe you missed that, Vimy, because I'm not sure whether you turned up at the start, but we covered that. But Yaron, if you just want to do a quick recap in 2 sentences for Vimy, that'll be cool.
Okay, so first of all, this is no good and bad area. There are bad areas as well, but also we said there, and I don't want to touch them. But even Betty asked, what about Paris market? I think I'll skip this question because it's dropped down the
yeah.
So look, Paris market, a lot of my clients buy in Paris. Although Paris market, you know, in the cycle is about, units is about 3 o'clock, is going downtown. Houses is actually, I think, before 6 o'clock, which is actually getting to the recovering stage. A lot of people that have, you know, more mature investors, think it's the best opportunity to just put money there and sit on them for a few years till they get the 3 result, especially in the land component. Of course, we need to understand also where to get in Paris, because it's also a big city, and you have a good neighborhood, and you have the not really well neighborhood, and this is actually what I'm doing as well. But look, as I said before, for Vimy, these depend where you want to invest, what is the situation. If you have a budget of $1 million and above, you can go for Sydney. If your budget is less than that and or only on the $500,000 or $400,000, you can go just to Melbourne or Brisbane or Adelaide or even Paris. Paris actually is more expensive because it's boosted in the last year. It really depends. It's based on research, and this is actually if you want to get to the next stage, just to understand where you and just to understand. Look, the thing is, what I'm doing is to create wealth, but I'm trying to adapt your situation with the properties and with the portfolio. So there is a portfolio worth of asset. Your goals is such and such. You want to have $1 million income a year. So I need to adapt that to see, okay, what you need to invest, how much you need to wait, and then what's your affordability and how to maximize your profit. So it's very hard to answer that. But yes, it's in an area like in general, northwest of Sydney is actually getting a lot of money. It's good place to invest if you're looking for affordability. If you're looking for affordability, it's west north also of Melbourne. East is also East is more affordable, but it's less growth happening there. Adelaide, CBD, and some regional areas in the CBD circle in the land component. There's some area near the CBD, which is actually very, very, very good option. What else? Brisbane is south of the city, north of the city, close to the Gold Coast, between Gold Coast and Brisbane. It's actually a very good land component that are growing value in the west of Brisbane CBD. So all the south of Queensland is actually have a potential to grow in value.
Okay, so basically,
lots of spots.
Yeah, lots of spots, and just you're talking mainly the metropolitan areas in the main CBD areas of Australia, yes. Within a certain radius, and also I guess once again it's about, as we mentioned earlier, about the cycle, the clock, the property clock for each city that you need to understand where it is. And for each suburb, there's also a cycle within each suburb. And that's where I guess you can help to determine whether each location is good, because there's so many factors to consider. What kind of infrastructure, what kind of stuff is happening in local area, amenities, all that kind of stuff. which you need to take into consideration because, as we know, just a 2% difference in capital growth, on a property over, let's say, a space of 15, 20 years, that can make a difference of $2-3 million in your wealth, right, at the end of the day. And that's where I guess you provide such great value because, people in Malaysia don't have the time and the expertise to actually get to Australia and do all that research, whereas, you're there all the time, right? So
yes.
yeah, I think that's why, if you're serious about investing in Australia, please do reserve your spot with Yaron. It's a free offer. And just have a chat and see whether Yaron can give you a hand. So
yeah. Do you want to go over a few other questions that just to give a brief Vimy? I think we covered this question. The truth of the foreigner can buy only new property. So yes, new property is off the plan. Complete product or house and land, land and the construction a new house, which I can actually do it for you as well as a builder. I don't know if you could cover all the questions. If Carol asks if the buyer cannot get the loan to cover the property. So look, in ideal world, when you buy property, you can sell it and you can get the 10% deposit back, and nobody. It's like when you go to the doctor, you pay for your visit, but then if something happens, or the doctor pay you back. I'm trying to, especially when you buy off the plan, I'm trying to help my clients in the long term. So if something getting wrong or you can't. They can't borrow money for any reason, losing job or any financial situation, or in Malaysia or in Australia. I'm trying to find a new buyer to buy the opportunity from you and give you back 10% deposit. This is what I'm doing. Most of the developer will be happy to, if you buy directly, will happy to that you can settle because they say, all right, it's your fault. And we take the 10% deposit and sell it for higher price. So, but look, this is what my effort. 99% I'm success in that. But it's when you buy a property, you're liable for that. So if you get in a situation, so you might have 1% that you want, you might lose the 10% deposit. But look, before that, before you buy a property, I need to understand if you can buy a property. If you have the option to buy it. If you don't have the option, I probably won't do it. I'll tell you, look, try to save more money, and when the time comes, I will have to do that. But we don't just buy a property because we want to buy a property. 10% is actually nothing, but you need to make a settlement, you need to take a finance. So it's not only that. So I'm gonna try to understand if you can do that. And be very, very honest with you. So before I give you a property opinion.
Okay, so Betty has one more question. Which area is now moving from 6 o'clock? So I guess this probably be the final question we address. So I guess if you guys have any more questions, you can always take up the offer and chat to Yaron one-to-one. I guess because we just want to respect people's time. We said this is going to be, around an hour. So we've kind of just gone a little bit over. But, let's just address this question. And if there's any more questions you have, please take advantage of the offer that we have put up there. So yeah, Yaron, if you'd like to address that question.
So it's a very, very question. Look, it's very, all the property clock is very assumption a way to analyze the property market. So everybody using that, but you need to be a bit more clever and smart. So yeah, in general, as I said, these 15,000 suburbs, everybody has different time, but in general, as we're talking about a major couple of cities, so on the housing market, Brisbane and southern Queensland, which is actually included on the housing market, is past the recovering stage. Actually, it's moved to even 9 o'clock, which is actually a good rising opportunity. If you're going to Adelaide as well, Adelaide also past the recovering stage. It's past the 6 o'clock, all housing and units. And it's because we see a lot of investment in the submarine infrastructure and a lot of population and also other fundamentals. Perth as well. Some people see like some land that growing in value. I don't know yet, but I think it's around 6 o'clock or before, or just not yet, but it's reaching to the stage of that is growing value. Yes, Melbourne Sydney already passed this, reached the top, and there's a lot of other suburbs that doing that. But look, based on the situation, I'll try to help you to move forward, because there's a lot of elements that I mentioned that can change everything. Your situation, your proposal, your the property, the element, the net asset, everything that. Thank you, Vimy. Yes, please talk to me, and look. Hope you enjoy the session, and we really look forward to hear from you. And look, enjoy your stay in Malaysia, and have a great investment time.
All right, thank you, Yaron. Thank you so much, and thanks everyone for coming. Hope this was of great value to you. And yeah, just if you want to have a chat to Yaron further, please feel free to sign up for that. And I might just also type in Yaron's email as well, in case you want to just email him direct. I'll put that in the chat. Okay, so you can also just email him direct. Okay, so yeah, thank you everyone for attending. Hope this was fantastic value for your time, and you learned a lot more and got much more clearer about investing in Australian properties. And yeah, hope to see you soon. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.